Hello and welcome to the Debrief 3 with
Miss Laura,
Miss Sarah.
Miss Hannah and our special guest,
Miss Christina.
Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good. Good. How has everybody's day been?
stressful, eventful.
Oh.
I'd say,
Yeah.
Why has your day been stressful?
because my room was a mess. Because we were building castles out of cardboard and plastic, and there was paint everywhere. There was bottles everywhere, and it was just yeah. And there's paint on my trousers, and there's paint everywhere.
Worst bit?
On my shoes, and my days, and there's paint in my hair. And I don't want to see another castle until after next Thursday.
Everybody else have a good day?
Yeah, compared to that, wonderful.
Yeah, we had our harvest assembly today, which turned into a harvest show. We had parents come over,
Oh.
and it was this big thing with the children and singing, and just it was really nice.
Oh.
It was really nice.
Calm.
Yeah, it was not calm. I can tell you that.
I got one of my kids to teach art today because I stole this idea from somebody. Like the kids spend their dojo points for things, so then they bought a lesson to teach it. And she was like, "Oh, I want to teach art," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." And like I sat in her chair and I was like quite annoying actually. I was like, "Miss," and she was like, "Ash." So it was quite funny. But the kids didn't finish. It was a very ambitious art lesson. I was like, "We're not going to do that," but they enjoyed it. So it
Oh,
was really
That's what
cute.
matters.
when I steal that idea, it's great.
Yeah.
I like sitting in there singing, and they don't know what to call me, so I put my hand up and go,
You.
Yeah, that person to be dropped the miss.
You. She was like, "You can't call her Miss. We can't call Miss Hannah Hannah because it's so rude." And I was like, "That's true." So then they were just confused. But
Good teacher. Mm.
good teeth. That was really right. So icebreaker.
what is it, Sarah?
If you could pick a superpower, what would it be?
Yes. So if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time travel.
See, I think that I would do that. I would definitely do that. Time
Yeah,
traveling.
it is cool.
Do you elaborate, Sarah?
Yeah,
We're making fun of Sarah.
Right.
because
So
they were.
you
They
She hasn't. stopped.
told me to say
Yeah.
that,
Oh,
but I agree.
you would.
Well, actually,
Would that be a superpower?
yeah. Would you go back in the past, or would you go more in the future?
I think I'd go back in the past.
Yeah, same.
I
I'd love
don't
to go in the
think,
past.
Why would you go forward?
That'd
Yeah.
freak me
I
out.
don't want to know what's coming.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to go back and just change something. You know, like how when you
History.
could just change history or my history.
I
I don't know, just
Yeah.
my history.
Like little.
just mine. Care about me.
Just a tiny little. Yeah, not enough.
I don't care about the
to,
world.
yeah, not enough to cause like a disaster.
No.
Just,
I wouldn't.
Oh,
No.
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
What about you?
Fly, 100%. Please.
On
Yeah,
my phone.
that was another one.
Yeah, I want to be able to fly.
See, I don't know if I'd like to fly.
Why?
I don't know. I like heights.
You don't like heights?
But if you could fly, I don't think you'd be scared. It would come with it. You would
What's in
get
that?
insurance. Too good.
I was
I
I think it should be the debrief too.
I
For
think
real.
so.
Kick the third one
No,
out.
it's jolly difficult to have 4 people.
We did it before. This is the new one. What was it?
Would you like to read people's minds?
No,
No,
that would freak me out.
absolutely
I've
not.
thought about that.
I feel like
Mm.
I know though.
Would you like it?
I'm
Oh, really?
a bit. Yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes I
no.
would like to know what they're thinking. Sometimes I just
Yes.
don't care.
Especially if it's a culture where it's like
Yeah.
you've no idea
Yeah.
and you just want to know
Exactly.
what
I-
you want.
Okay.
I feel like I
Yes,
could sort
that,
of read people's
yes.
minds already.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just found a good
What
judge
am
of
I
character.
thinking right now?
You're thinking, I bet you Lauren doesn't know what I'm thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to know. Wouldn't want to know what everyone's saying about me.
No, near that. It would make me
Yeah,
cry.
that's true.
Yeah.
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 What if it's really mean?
I know.
What if it's lovely though? Then it's wonderful.
It's unlikely it's going to be lovely. But do not just say it out loud.
No, but
Sometimes we
no.
don't.
You know what they say?
Not if your love language is not words of
Yeah,
affirmation.
exactly.
Oh, here she
You're
goes.
not
Oh, the love
Exactly.
language is out.
Anyway, mine would be.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes, Laura.
As we all swing round. Miss Laura.
Mine would be. I would like to move things with my mind.
Oh, like a Matilda.
Yes. Yes. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. Like sometimes with lazy, I would just like to. Oh, I really need my bag, and I just move it
Yeah.
with my mind. Love to do that in class.
You could move the children into position.
Yeah.
Get in your seats.
And you just like, and they go.
Even go to the mall and move things to you.
Oh.
Like that.
Oh, like
The dark side.
steal it.
There you go. Well, not steal it.
You weren't going to
No.
ask me my superpower. Now you're
Yeah, if you have the power, it's not. Sure.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about ourselves in that one question.
Good icebreaker.
It was.
Well done, Hannah.
Thank you. You're welcome. Right, we move on. So we are going to talk about teaching in an English school today, and we've invited Miss Christina, who previously worked with us here. And
Not
she's
me.
now. Oh yes, she's just met Miss Laura today. Yeah, so she's in a different school, English school still. And for Miss Laura, Miss Sarah, and I, English is our first language. For Miss
Mine is
Christina,
probably second or third. One of them.
it is not.
It is not. It's
Yeah.
not my native language.
So we're going to talk about how we find it teaching in an international English school, because most of us, we have kids in our class who don't speak English at home, or English isn't their first language either. So, okay, question 1. How do you find teaching English to kids who don't speak it as a first?
Someone start us off.
I think the face says it all.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Whoever, do you want to start?
Yeah, you start.
Yeah, I'm here to vent. So,
Tell us.
I think I would say it's challenging. That's the word I would use. It's challenging just because you're trying to communicate to them things that you want to teach them, and especially if they're like little, like I teach 4 and 5-year-olds. So some of them don't even know how to like word things yet. So let alone like having to speak in English, and it is challenging. It's very hard. Yeah.
Interesting, because I noticed that, like, because I teach the older ones, children that have been, they're known for their bad behavior when they're like in kindergarten or grade 1 or whatever. By the time they come to me, I'm like, you're okay. And then I wonder sometimes, was it because they just couldn't communicate when they were younger? And then,
Yeah, definitely.
That is it.
I think I find it more frustrating when they're older and they've come in the middle of a year, or they've come and everyone else in the class is speaking English, and then they've just landed and they're like, I don't speak, like they don't understand anything. And I think I find it more difficult then, because I'm just like, oh, I'm so aware of this one kid in the class who doesn't understand, and I'm like, do I need to change how I'm saying it? Like, what do I need to do? Sometimes I just put them, this is now another question I'm answering, but sometimes I do just put them beside someone else in the class who's either speaks the same language as them, or someone who will just be really good at explaining it again.
I do that.
I'm like, just for now. You don't have to stay.
I do the same thing. I pair up the kids. Sometimes I have my translators.
We love our translators.
Oh, that's my favorite thing. When you get a kid to translate another kid, I'm like, I am pretty sure that is not what they said. They did not say that. How are you finding it?
I'm okay. I feel like they struggle to understand my accent sometimes. The kids who struggle with English. But no, I'm actually doing it.
Because, okay, obviously at home, like you taught England before coming here, there are a lot of ESL kids now.
Oh, there was in the school, my first placement, because I was in City Centre, Liverpool. So there were so many kids from like different countries at the school. And it was in year 1 as well, so it wasn't like they were like grade 6 or whatever. It was year 1, and they were an interesting bunch. So, I found that tricky in first year because I didn't really know what to do, because it was first year at university, so I had no clue.
And I think we take it for granted that we just speak English.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think until I've worked here, realized how difficult it is to learn English. That we have so many different ways of saying things and like just adding bits into stuff. And I'm like,
silent letters.
Different accents.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
the accent. I'm amazed at the kids when they can speak several languages.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just standing there like, I only speak English. Like that's
There's a kid in my class speaks 4, and they couldn't believe that I only spoke English. Like they're like, "Why this?" I'm like,
It's really it's so true. Okay, so number 2, this kind of leads into it. What tools or materials do you use to ensure that all your kids understand or that they're able to learn from a lesson? So like, how do you make sure that the kids who don't speak English are okay?
Google Translate.
It's your best friend.
Yeah, I used that the other day, and one of the Greek students went, "That doesn't say what it's meant to say, miss."
Oh.
I was like, "I thought that. I thought that. Yeah, it doesn't look right."
For an emergency, yes. I think
Yeah.
you get as much as you
Yeah.
would
Exactly.
understand. Yeah.
And also when they're doing tests, like I'll just say, if you don't know how to write it in English, write it in your language. And then the camera option on it is so good. Yeah.
And then for you,
That's
you'll
amazing.
just, you'll understand.
Because for most, unless it's an English test, obviously, if it's any other topic, then
You just don't.
you're not grading them on their
Yeah,
English, it's
exactly.
just their understanding.
Yeah.
But usually in the beginning, I find as well, like, I don't know, oftentimes when they come and they don't know anything, I'll immediately panic and be like, oh no. But I find if most of the time this works, if I just speak English, put them near like someone who can sometimes translate and just treat them like they can speak English, most of the time they pick it up so well.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're so good. They're just sponges.
Yeah, exactly.
I was the same when I first came here, and I had, I think, 3 kids join the class that year. No English. Like, one of them especially, like, they didn't even know how to ask me to go to the toilet. They like nothing. Like, oh bless them. They would look at me every time and go, and I was like, ah. But I was like you, so stressed of like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
But I think now I am more, oh, do you know what? They will pick it up.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone who hasn't.
No.
You know?
Was that child in my class now?
No, they're in high school now, actually.
Oh, wow. And do they speak English?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Just like,
Cool.
and by the end of the year, they do. Like, several children that you're teaching now that I had in grade 1, some of them did not speak very much English. And now I look at them and I'm like, I can't even imagine.
How do you understand?
I'm like, wow, you speak so much now.
Well, I'm remembering some kids from our school when I was here as well that were just.
Yeah. Some of them end up top
speak a word.
students.
Yes.
Top student in high school.
Yeah.
Happened to a girl when I was in school here. She came in grade 5. You know English. She ended up top student every single year following.
That's so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when I was here, I had a little girl who only spoke Spanish when she came. And I remember, because I was teaching Greek when I was here, I did the whole PowerPoint in Spanish. Like I wrote the words, what they meant in Greek, and then in Spanish and English, just for her to write it down so she can go back home and learn. Because you don't also want to make them feel less than the other ones because you know
the stress. Yeah.
Exactly.
I find too if I'm telling the kids something verbally, oftentimes I'll also type it too. Because by this stage, even if they don't know English so well, they're quick at picking up the words and.
I do that too.
Yeah. I use pictures as well. So if it's a topic, especially for history or geography, if it's a word that even a native English speaker will not know, like a brand new word. Oh, they learned plateau this week. That was our big word. And I was like, big word for grade 3. So I had a picture of it. And then they were like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then they described it a different way. I was like, do you know what? That's pretty much it. So I was like, yeah. But otherwise, if I'm using big words, like the key words are trickier. I can't imagine for 5 and 6 what it's like.
There are words that I'm like, normally British kids will definitely 100% know this, but so many of them, they know a mixture of like either American words or British. And so I'll just interchange them. And then if they don't know it, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I can't be bothered trying to make an easier word. I'll just use the word in a sentence, and sometimes that works because they're able to figure it out. So
pictures are a big thing for us, especially in kindergarten.
Oh yeah.
It's a big, huge thing. They do help a lot. And repetition, I think, as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like
And
show the
songs
picture,
and-
the
yeah.
word. Show the picture, the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, this week in our Greek lesson, this is so off topic, we were doing about Ypsilon.
Okay.
And all I remember was your silly song that you used to sing.
What was it?
Like the Ypsilon,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. That came into my head, and I was like, why is that stuck in my head?
See,
It works.
Music,
Yes.
music is there.
Mhm.
But it made me laugh. I was like, it was like, why are you laughing? And I was like, I can't even tell you. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Move on. Have you learned from the kids when they switch to English, and how does it change the way you teach?
Patience
Mm-hmm.
and to go slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because you can tell in their face. And then it's actually good because then the other children that are maybe daydreaming or whatever, then there's sort of helping them.
Yeah.
You're not just helping the one child.
Yeah. I think as well when they're sitting and their faces are like, you can tell
You can tell
they're
they're
like,
spaced out.
okay, I need to change the words I am using. So. And for me, short, direct sentences, and sometimes it sounds so rude. I'm like, sit, but for them that's okay.
Oh yeah.
That's what they
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. Especially when I was in grade 1. Oh, I would be like, sit down, now. Like, and that's all they need.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, if you put more words in what you're saying,
They get
then-
lost in
yeah,
their-
yeah.
It's true.
and even giving instructions, like when we trained, like in the UK, they were like one instruction at a time, and I was like, yeah, okay. But here, it's even like half parts sometimes. It's I can't even be like, I would like you to push your chair in, line up quietly, and go to assembly. For some of the kids here, it's too many words, so it's like, push your chair in, and they're like, okay, they've done that, and then get your things, line
To
up.
wait.
I'm waiting for each part because they just aren't getting it, or sometimes they're just following the other kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you'll learn.
Mhm.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, yeah.
It is hard.
It is. Yeah. And I think, like, I am, like I've said this already, I'm amazed when they switch between languages, and I'm just like, you know,
That's
it's
so
like,
cool.
oh,
That
yeah.
is so cool.
I know. Yeah, you do.
That's a brag.
We are in awe.
my phone?
I am going to drop your phone today, sorry. I am in awe of you switching it up.
You should just randomly switch during this episode.
See if we understand.
Yeah.
I'll
Always so confused.
Oh, you need to practice Laura's Greek homework with her later.
Okay.
Do that.
Sit together.
She's like, oh, she's been I was like, I know.
Hey, you did the switch. What's that? What does it mean?
What was your name?
There you go.
Melanie Laura.
Oh,
Is that right?
Bravo.
very good.
I know more than Sarah.
You do tell.
No. Basically fluent at this point.
Oh yes, we learned Etsy this week. So that was
That's a big one.
We had to do a thing and we had to put the, what are they called? 3 things.
the donuts.
Oh, that's
I got-
oh, that's hard.
I got 2 right.
There's
out of
native
20 or
speakers that
something.
can't do it.
No, it was hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
I was struggling. I was like,
I still find myself like when I have to do it, like I will say the word and be like where the sound
Yeah.
falls.
That's what we were doing. We were
Yeah.
listening to it, and then we had to hear where the change was and put it on.
I couldn't hear where the change was.
It's all changing.
So then I am kids when they have to do something in English, and it's
Yeah.
like, I'm amazed.
I know, I sit there and I'm like, oh, the grade 1 kids, this is literally how, like, when you're learning English, like, this is how people play them. It's like,
Yeah. I know.
I'm learning
And
Greek.
then I'm like, the kids are obviously thinking in their own language as well, right?
Mm.
When you're speaking English, do you think in English?
I don't
Oh.
think I see people ask me this, and I'm really not sure if I do.
Yeah.
I
Do
don't
you
know.
think in words?
Hi, Sarah. Let's
I
not
don't think I
overthink
can
this.
say words.
Speak to me.
What you want to know?
See, I don't know. I think my mind just changes.
switches it, yeah,
switches
'cause
to the
you're-
language that
'cause you
I'm
understand
speaking.
it too.
Oh, okay.
I think
Ah.
it's like I switch, I flip.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But like for you, if you're just home by yourself,
Mm.
what would you? If you're talking to yourself, what would you speak?
I think it would be Greek.
Mm.
It is Greek.
Yeah.
I even dream in Greek.
Wow.
Well, not
Oh.
always. Not always.
Wow.
Sometimes it's in English.
Mm.
It's that.
You should share what are your languages?
Yes,
So I
yeah.
we're
speak
just
Greek, English, and Arabic.
Mhm.
These are my languages.
yes.
Say something in each.
Each.
Yeah.
Yeah, soy Miss Christina. So does
Hello, my name is Christina.
there you go. Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Ana es mi Christina. That's in Arabic.
Hello,
My name is
Christina.
Christina. I'm saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, in English. I'm speaking.
You are.
I think. But it's interesting. People have asked me this before.
Sorry,
I'm
I
sorry.
have just
Move on.
absolute technical issue. No, sorry, keep talking.
Yeah, no, that's it.
That's really cool.
That's all I want to say.
That's
Amazing. And when I've been like in your house, you and your parents and your sister, like it switches.
And
The conversation
them.
is like 3 languages, and I'm like,
Yeah. And we
Wow.
even mix them up.
Yeah, in
sometimes.
a sentence.
it's
Yeah,
so-
that's
Oh,
crazy.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
no, it's
That's
really
fab.
cool.
Yeah.
And I sit and I'm like, yeah.
That's a superpower.
That is her superpower.
Actually.
Yeah, it is.
We need an Irish.
Irish.
For what?
Communicate.
To communicate in secret.
Sluncha.
We'll move on.
Anyway.
Okay. Last part. What cultural differences have you noticed in your class? So, like, do the kids say things that you find rude, but for them it's not? Or have you found any differences? I'm just going to give you that because I'm going to drop it. Like, so culturally for you growing up, how do you find it different in class?
A hard question.
That is a very hard question.
I'd say like personal space.
Oh.
Like sometimes they're just in their
In your
culture.
face.
That's not rude.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're right there.
Child today, Hannah, remember a
I
breakdown?
moved them.
I was like,
He was here to Laura, and I was like, "Can you step back? Miss Laura does not need you."
Miss Laura can't breathe.
They could have touched noses. I was like,
Oh.
"Move!" Like,
It was a very important question.
It was, but not
Was
here.
it? I don't think it was actually.
I don't
Oh,
remember.
really?
But I think kids generally don't get personal
No.
space.
No.
Yeah, that's
Like
the
I
thing
have
as
children,
well.
like touching me.
Do you find because you're tall, the
Oh.
kids are at an
They
awkward
just
height?
touch where they
Yeah.
reach, whatever, and usually it's
Yeah,
not fun.
I have the same issue because the kids are just like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like.
But even this whole tapping
Yeah.
thing, it
Yeah.
It's funny. I know.
I can't.
Like okay, I teach the older ones.
Yeah.
Then it's like
Oh.
they don't go near me. But
Over
we're all
there.
like, no, we'll stay away from each
we
other.
know what to do.
Yeah. But then at break time, whenever the younger ones, I literally come back feeling violated
Exactly.
because
Yes.
I'm like, yeah.
Been touched everywhere.
yeah, and it's this constant. You're talking to someone, and
It's true. It's true. It's like, can you not? Yeah.
it's the stroking too. It's like,
Oh, it's hard to
They
find.
play with like
Your hair.
your clothes. Like this shirt's quite long today, and some of the kids in my class were like just doing this while they were talking to me, and I was like,
I just forgot I teach grade 5. I think I
I
can
know it is. It's so much valuable.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the biggest things I find cultural difference is kids will be like, "Huh? Back to me?"
Yes.
Or if I'm when I've said
What?
something to them and they go, what? And I'm like, for us, like that's really rude. Like we would have
I go like, sorry, or pardon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then saying okay. Like
Yeah.
I would if I was telling a kid something and then they go, okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we're done. Like I've
Mhm.
finished speaking to you.
Mm.
Like I'm telling them off, like they've done something. And then they go,
Oh.
okay.
Okay.
Yes,
that
I know what you
concept.
mean.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
So I
no.
haven't even noticed
Yeah.
these things.
We're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something it really and I'm like, stop saying okay. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay.
It's not okay.
So I've realized that it's just something they do. Yeah. So and calling us ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
I like that.
Call you ma'am.
They
Some
call
do.
What?
Yeah, some
I've
of the
never
children will
heard
say
that.
ma'am. Yes.
Never heard that.
I know. It's like quite different. I'm like, yeah.
Or teacher.
Teacher.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that I've noticed.
Yeah.
That they just call me teacher, and I'm like, my name.
Yeah. But obviously, in their language,
It's
you call the teacher the title teacher.
Yeah.
But I
don't-
really
I
hate
don't
it.
like it.
It feels like, oh, I'm
Very-
just a teacher. Like, I know I am, but you know,
I'm
like,
a person.
I am Miss Sarah.
I have an identity.
Sarah teacher.
That's what it says on it. That's what she wrote. Miss Hannah, teacher. Yeah. Like, I just, and some of the children in my class this year are just so loud, but it's cultural.
Yes.
And I just,
Yes.
they're, no, I don't want to say, they're not Cypriot, but I won't say, but
Yeah.
But
it's
quite
like,
a few countries, it's normal to
just
be
loud.
louder. Yeah.
Expressive.
and I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
I'm getting more used to it. Like,
Yeah.
when I first came, I was like, you need to find an inside voice because, woo, this is not happening. Like, and during the art lesson that one of the other kids I sat beside one of the kids that was loud, like right in my ear, and I was like, "You're so much." I was like,
You should have heard my room yesterday, and then Castles, and this morning it was so loud. I couldn't hear myself think. I was like, no.
And then they're like, "It's not that loud in here," because obviously at home it's loud. Like for them, they're with family, it's loud. Everybody's. So then I'm like, in this classroom, I need quiet. Yes.
Yeah.
They've gotten a lot better. They've gotten a lot better my class in us.
That's good.
Because I think they can tell that I can't stop. So they just get that.
That's true. I put music on when they do their work, and if they're so loud, I just turn it off. I'm like, do want to hear you?
I mean, if we're doing it, let's do it.
I know.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's definitely loud, the music. And then they're like, Miss, it's too loud. And I'm like, you shush. I want to hear the instrumental worship, not you. Then I'm like, it's supposed to calm us down, but we're more grumpy. I was like, literally story of my life. I'm like, oh.
I do like though the multicultural feel, like they're
Yeah.
all from
Yes.
different
I love it too.
countries, and then
Yeah.
like also racism, that kind of thing. There's
Yes.
less of it because you're almost you're offending yourself as well. Like
Yeah,
everyone's
it's
from
different
Yeah.
places. Yeah.
Yeah. And they share so much from their culture with
No, it's
each
so
other, and I
cool.
really
Yeah,
love
I
it.
like it.
Like, I know the class I have this year with Miss Annie. Shout out Miss Annie. She's watching. Last year she did a culture day with them, and I think I managed to hear like 2 presentations. But it was just so lovely to hear them talk
Yeah.
about where they're from, their family culture. And I'm just like, this is so
Yeah.
sweet. Like it's
I
just.
feel like
nice.
we're traveling the world just by staying in our
Literally,
classroom.
exactly. That's
Right, so.
I know. No, it's like, and how they mix with each other. And they're
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
and they just don't care.
No,
Like
they
I
don't.
don't think they notice that they're
No.
different. I think in my head
No.
because when I was growing up in Cyprus back in the 90s, and I was the only child that looked different than the others. I am different. But like I didn't notice it until someone pointed it out to me that I was different. But I didn't see it, and I think children just don't
they
really
don't
see
know.
that or language or
No.
whatever.
And I feel like I grew up in this school, so I was very used to everyone from different countries, and I didn't like I was more like, oh yeah, my friends from here, my friends from here, you know. That was the only time I thought that, oh yeah, you're from a different country is when I could say to someone, oh, they're from. But normally I just didn't notice.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Sure.
And then when I went to teach in Scotland, like because there was where I was teaching, there was just less cultures than here. I found it really strange. I found that strange that a lot of people were just from the same culture.
But we have so little patience. I'm gonna collectively group Northern Irish people together. I find most of us, not all of us, have very little patience for people at home who don't speak English. Would you agree?
Yes.
And it's really something really rude about our culture that we would be like, oh, why don't they just learn it? They live here. And I'm like, oh, like that's not like they have moved from somewhere and it's like they are literally trying their best.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas here, I've become a lot more patient because I'm like, the kids don't speak English. And I'm like, just waiting to take their time. And the kids help each other here.
Yeah.
And they don't, like, no one is making fun of someone else because they don't know how to say it or they pronounce it wrong. Sometimes that is actually the highlight of my day when the kids say an English word and it's like so mispronounced. And I'm like, oh no, this is how we say it. And then we kind of
Salmon.
Salmon. You say salmon, right?
Salmon.
Salmon. Salmon.
Salmon over here.
You make it fancy though.
Yeah. But I'm like, no. But I find like here it's so nice just to be like,
It is.
the kids we speak and it's like, yep, whatever level of English you have, they communicate. And it's
And
amazing.
I also feel like people here in this country, they just love it when you try to speak their language.
Yeah.
They're so like honored by that.
Yeah.
I just think
And
it's
they-
respectful though if you come to someone.
Absolutely. Learn the basics.
Mhm.
Like,
They possible any, like you don't know.
That was good.
Can you ask?
Really good at
No, don't ask me anymore.
Okay.
Don't ask me
I
anymore.
was gonna say, like, even to say to someone, like, how are you? And
Oh, I can't remember.
like, yeah.
How do you say that?
Yeah.
Well, you can say a few things.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now I'm stressed. Well, what would you, if you wanted to ask me what would you go for in Greek? Like, what would be your?
I would say posise.
Yeah. So I would possibly say, and then some Tikanis was the one we learned this week.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But even when someone's like, taxi, and I'm like, nah. You know, like even the basics of that, or oh, and I'm gonna mess up cards. I'm not gonna say.
Or you just gotta nod your head. That's what they do.
Yeah. So like learn a few things and numbers, those kind of things. And you can go to the shop and ask for something. It's like
Yeah.
And I was getting salmon at the fish counter thing, and I thought, oh, I'll try. I'll be like, oh, I'll try it in Greek, and I said bread instead of fish because it's
Sorry, it's the same. Okay, yeah.
And then
I get it.
she was like, and I was like, wrong store. Salmon. And she was like, okay.
That bread.
That bread. The pink one.
Pink salmon
Maybe you want
bread.
a
Pink bread.
Maybe you want to breaded fish.
Yeah, that's what you were
Even
going
more
for, Hannah.
confusing, yeah, I know. Yeah, and I've like tried even calling up the doctor, and I was like, "Oh, signomi then Milaolinica," and they were just like continued in Greek, and I was like, "Signomi, Milau," and I meant to say Ligolinica, and instead I said Microolinica, and then she started laughing.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
She's lost.
I was
saying all these words.
Right. So I told the doctor, I'm sorry, I do not speak Greek. And then I meant to say I speak a little Greek, but instead I said I speak small Greek. So
Because you translated it from English to Greek?
Literally, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then she was like, And I was like, micro? And she was like, And I was like, that's obviously not the word. And then all I could hear was little. I was like, oh, little. Okay. So, yeah. I'm amazed when the kids speak to me, and I'm like, wow.
The Greek students were impressed when I said aposolene today to them.
Were they?
Yeah, they actually were.
Your little Greek gals.
Yeah, the Greek girls.
She only has girls that go out for first language.
Yeah.
So she calls them the Greek gals.
Greek girls, off you go.
But do you find that you have more Greek speakers in the school now, or more like, or is it like a combination? Of
Yeah.
Like you have more children that speak English or not? Does that make sense? Like,
Oh, like you mean first language?
yeah, like their first
Oh,
language
yeah.
is English.
I would say there's.
Less
Oh,
or
I
more?
don't know. I would say it's almost the same.
Yeah.
The amount that are first language Greek and
First language
first
English.
language English.
They're learning in
But-
English, but for most of them, like I'm trying to think of my class right now, I would say there's only about 5 or 6 who speak English at home. And the rest of the class speak their native language. So it's like, it is becoming more.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Which is really nice. Like it's,
And every now and then we get like an influx of like a country.
Yeah.
A few from
Yeah,
that
yeah,
country.
yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm gonna learn a new language.
Yeah.
But that's true. You also
Yeah.
find yourself picking up some words in there.
It's true.
Yeah, I
You
don't
My-
can
think
at least communicate.
I don't think I'll ever pick up Russian phrases at all.
Oh,
Probably
Russian
not.
is my first language now.
Yeah, most of your children are.
I had this
Yeah.
little girl in the toilet once, and I could hear someone crying. Everyone else was in assembly, so I walked into her and I opened the door. And she's like, "No, no, 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 no." and I speak to her in Russian, like trying to tell her don't cry. And then from that day on, she thinks I speak Russian. She
Wow.
will come to me and just speak to me in Russian.
Aww.
I don't.
Aww.
But it's just it's the safety
Yeah.
that you felt
Yes,
that I could
yeah.
at least utter a few
Yeah.
words
No, yeah.
that
I
mean
know.
something to her. It's safety for them, I think.
It is. My class this year, the majority are Arabic speaking, and they are trying really hard to teach me some Arabic, and it's really hard, Christina.
Arabic is hard.
It's really hard, and I'm just like,
It's hard for me.
and then they'll like try and remind me of what I've already learned. So I'm like, "Oh, I don't remember. I'm like, I don't remember. Yeah.
I have those Russian like kids in my class. And, yeah. They sort of speak Russian to each other and they're speaking so fast.
Oh yeah, and I'm like,
How
I
do you
know.
know? Like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, it's amazing. This.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't. Unless you're translating, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
like
know, it's,
at break time, oh, speak.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
speak it.
They need
Go
that.
for it. They do.
to
Go for it.
relax and,
Absolutely
you know.
go for it. In class, try as much English as
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
physically
yeah,
possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
If they start speaking Russian, I go, I can't understand that. And then walk away.
Do you find that they're creating cliques as well, based on their languages in class?
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you allow that, or do you like, no, and don't have
Sometimes I'm a little naughty and I do split them. The
Yeah.
class I had last year was about 10 or 11 years. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but you're just going to not. I don't have a problem with it.
just
Like there's just mix up a little bit, just go. So sometimes I
Yeah.
would, because
Yeah, because as well, it means then they don't realize they could have a friend in another
Yes.
culture,
Yeah.
but they're just not doing that because
Yeah.
they're staying with their language, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
branch out.
Then we would do that too, though. Like if someone didn't speak English, and like you
Yes.
just stick with English speakers, and
It's
you
true.
wouldn't
Yeah.
go
I
into,
know,
like,
no, it's
I don't
true.
know, like, Spanish or something like
Yeah,
you.
yeah. No, it's true. I know it's true. We're very hypocritical.
Yes,
We
we
are.
are. We practice what we preach.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm very tired.
Yeah.
Do you want to stop now?
Okay.
Let's just continue the rest of it in Greek, huh?
That's
Ναι.
good.
Στα ελληνικά, να μιλήσουμε ελληνικά. Έλα, Miss Laura.
Εντάξει, Laura.
Να μιλήσουμε ελληνικά.
Bravo, Gori.
Does that mean?
Well done,
Well done.
girl.
Girl. Yeah. Well done, girl.
Yeah.
Well done, girl.
Girl. Gal.
I said it in Indian accent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching and
Yes.
listening. And thank you, Miss Christina,
Thank
for
you
coming
so
in.
much.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to
It's
be
so nice to
here.
have you
So
back.
nice.
You know why she's laughing?
Someone's tired in the corner.
Like and subscribe.
Woohoo!
I've just seen the time. Right, we need to go home.
What time is it?
It's 4 to 5.
Right, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.